Hello everyone, and welcome back to Frontlines of Kerbin. This is episode 5, and let me tell you, we are not holding anything back today. This episode marks the grand finale of the WWI Era. After this, we transition into Early WWII Era, which means new tanks, new planes, and significant updates to the battlefield. I'll also be using the break between eras to update my own mod, Box Defense Contracts, with some new toys. An update before the chaos begins. The official Frontlines Discord server is now live. Join us to chat with me directly, see exclusive mod updates, and hang out with fellow Kerbals. The link is in the description. I hope to see your suggestions there. Let's head right on into turn 8. General Korey wastes no time. Her first move is to order every single tank from F8 to advance into F7. This grid square is currently occupied by Gallandia's massive armored spearhead. I asked both AI generals how they want to handle this engagement. They both agreed, line them up face to face and charge. So, the tanks are lined up. Engines are arriving. Without further ado, here is the biggest tank battle in the history of the series so far.
Let's get this show on the road.
I am astonished. Going into this, I bet General Mavis would win. She had 33 tanks against General Korey's 19. But the numbers don't lie, and neither does the wreckage if it was there, because I cleaned it all up. General Mavis lost every single tank, including the repair truck. General Korey only lost 5 tanks. This was a classic case of survivability versus sheer numbers. Quality over quantity. It seems the Gallandia medium tanks had a fatal flaw. The turrets were prone to being blown off, rendering them useless, even if the hull survived. It's a devastating blow to the Gallandian morale. Ashkar has won by a massive margin. While the smoke clears at F7, Ashkar also makes some other moves here. To simplify the command, I consolidated the scattered units around C12, C13, D13 into a single force at D12. Just 4 Vipers grouping up. Over to Serene, we moved the units to F11, joining the main supply line. Up north at F10, the reserve force moves to F9. And from Fort Heckmack, Korey moves a strike wing of 2 Vipers with the 500-pound bombs and 2 Strixes to F8, staging them for potential bombing runs on Gallandia's bases. The 2 Phantoms at E11 retreat to Fort Heckmack to harden its defenses. Finally, a lone scout from Heckmack flies a sortie over Fort Vigil, while near it, gathering fresh intel. Here is the updated map after Ashkar's turn. They have pushed deep into F7, consolidated their lines. Now let's see how a reeling General Mavis responds. Mavis is desperate to turn the tide. I'm just gonna let these 2 counterattacks play right on out. First, the planes from Fort Kestrel at G6 launch a strike against the surviving Ashkar tanks at F7. And next, the air raid from Fort Vigil targets the heavily defended Fort Heckmack at E10. We are seeing a trend here. Unless they are equipped with heavy bombs, World War I era planes struggle against armor. The attack on F7 was actually somewhat effective. They reduced Ashkar's surviving tank force from 12 down to 5. But the cost was high. Gallandia lost a significant portion of its air force, leaving 2 bombers stranded with no payload. They did land at Outpost Aurelia. The attack on Fort Heckmack, however, was a disaster. Bad execution all around. They managed to take out 1 anti-air emplacement, but lost the entire attacking squadron in the process. To finish this turn, Mavis moves her reserves from Westmere into E6. This includes the 2 Thunderbolts, the 2 Hunters, the 2 Paladins, and the Lancer light tank. It's a strong force, but is it enough to stop Ashkar? And here's the map. Once again, Gallandia has suffered massive losses in both armor and aircraft this turn. Bad decisions compounded by bad luck. Now, for the spending phase. For Ashkar's production, at Fort Heckmack, Korey doubles down on quality, ordering 2 EFX-1 scimitars, the Wonder Fighters, 2 Vipers with 500-pound bombs, and 3 Strixes, interceptors. In the capital of Ashamar, a single Coyote scout plane is produced here. In Gallandia, Fort Vigil, Mavis desperately rebuilds her entire air wing. 2 Falcons with 250-pound bombs loaded onto them. 4 Falcons without the bombs. 2 interceptors and 1 Owl scout tank. At Fort Kestrel, just a single Falcon fighter. Probably would have been useful here. Maybe. And this concludes turn 8. Ashkar has dominated the ground and held their own in the air. Gallandia is bleeding points and units. Now we come to turn 9. And folks, what started as a victory lap for Ashkar quickly turns into a completed mess. General Korey, perhaps overconfident from the tank battle, seeks revenge against Fort Vigil. Every capable plane from Fort Heckmack takes off to intercept the new air wing at Fort Vigil. Let the battle commence once again. And there we have it. 2 lonely scimitar wonder fighters limp away from the scene. Almost every plane on both sides were destroyed. The only Gallandian survivor? A single Paladin tank with its turret blown off. It held the line against the entire Air Force, which is incredible. Like, you gotta be kidding me. But wait. It gets worse. General Korey also orders an attack on Fort Kestrel, combining the planes from F8 and outpost Scimitar. Now, during the transit to Kestrel, some of the Ashkar pilots apparently decided the ground was merely a suggestion. Despite my best with the AI pathfinding, they smacked right into the side of a mountain. Drunken pilots, I assume, really. Still, the survivors made it to the target. They still have a significant force. They should be able to kick some major butt at Kestrel. This should be very easy, right? No, it was not easy. They lost everything to a single lone anti-air emplacement. What happened to the bombers? Where are the 500-pound bombs? I have zero clue. This is embarrassing, extremely embarrassing. Ashkar has thrown away their air superiority in a single turn. Moving on to a few things that did not explode this turn. The tanks at F9 move into F8, closing the distance to the front. And they have a repair truck with them, so they can patch up the damage before the next push. The 4 Vipers at D12 move to D11 to reinforce Fort Heckmack. This ends Ashkar's turn 9, a strategic disaster. Now, before we check on Gallandia, I'm going to try something new. I'll update the maps after both sides have finished its turns. This saves time on editing and the voiceover, but let me know in the comments or in the Discord if you prefer the old way. Speaking of the Discord server, join it. Link is in the description. Like and subscribe while you're on your way down there into Gallandia for their turn 9. Guess what? Gallandia only makes one singular move. A single scout flies a sortie over F8. And you know what? I actually get to show this one because it flies directly over an active tank column. And as it gets near, as you can see here, the Ashkar tanks decided to open fire. The scout turns tail immediately, gets out of there pretty damaged, but alive, and it confirms, yeah, there's tanks there. And here are the changes to the map for turn 9. A lot of wreckage, not a lot of movement. Now for the final World War I production phase. For Ashkar, rebuilding after the disaster. At Fort Heckmack, she builds 2 Strixes and 2 Viper fighters. At the city of Shireen, 3 Sandstorm anti-air tanks. And the city of Barca, 1 Phantom tank destroyer and 2 anti-tank Vipers. And as well as Sarashan also builds 2 anti-tank Vipers. And Gallandia, digging in for the long haul. And Outpost Aurelia, she builds 2 Skywarden anti-air emplacements, 3 Raptor interceptors. This base is becoming a fortress. They have a whole metric ton of planes here. Holy crap. Although this might not be the case anymore once World War II early starts, because those new planes might actually kick some major butt. We don't know. I don't know yet. I've not done any testing. I'm not built anything yet, so we don't know. Anyway, in the city of Westmere, 2 Hunter tank destroyers and 2 Skyguard anti-air tanks. In Fort Vigil, 1 lone Sky Warden. And with that, the World War I era of Frontlines of Kerbin come to a close. With the era ending, the series will be going on a brief hiatus. I need this time to update my mod, Fox Defense contracts, create the new rule set for the early World War II era, and most importantly, design and build the new tanks and planes that you'll be seeing in the next phase of the war. I estimate this break will last about 1 to 2 months. Could be a little earlier, could be slightly later, but this is why joining the Discord server is so important. It's the best way to stay up to date on the progress. I'll be posting sneak peeks of the new units, taking suggestions for the mod, and maybe even streaming the creative process. I might even let you chat with the AI generals themselves. Their mileage may vary of their sanity, if you ask me. Thank you all so much for watching, subscribing, and being part of this journey. The World War I era was just the beginning. The real war starts soon. This is Lance, the Overseer Frontlines of Kerbin, signing out.